Hi everyone, today I'm looking back at a BBC 70s comedy sitcom called The Good Life. It starred Richard Briers, Penelope Keith, Felicity Kendall and Paul Edrington. It originally ran from the 4th of April 1975 to the 10th of June 1978, and essentially it revolved around the four characters. Tom Good decides on his 40th birthday that he's had enough of the daily grind, the rat race as he refers to it. So he decides that he and his wife, Barbara, played by Felicity Kendall, are going to become self-sufficient. That their home is essentially going to be run under their own steam. They're going to have their own generator. They're going to have cows, they're going to have pigs, chickens, they're going to make their own clothes, their own food. Basically, they're not going to depend on, the outside world for very much, if anything at all. And, of course, this is quite topical when you think about everything now with the environment and all the rest of it, climate change and all the rest of it, but this show's centered specifically on four people. So you had Tom and Barbara setting up their home to be completely self-sufficient. Then on the other side of the fence, there's Margot and Jerry. Margot played by Penelope Keith. Jerry here, henpecked husband, played by Paul Edrington. Margot is the complete contrast to Tom and Barbara. She's very much high society. She loves luxury. She loves money. She loves, the absolute lap of luxury. And the thought of her common neighbours as she looks down at Tom and Barbara in the beginning, doing something so below her as being self-sufficient and living off the land, she's absolutely appalled. And Jerry, her rather nagged husband, he's a typical, back in the day, 9-to-5 work type of husband at the office. He's always trying to go after his boss's job, etc. And it's the contrast between the four of them, their lifestyles, but also it demonstrates very, very gently the changes that, people can make amongst themselves to make themselves happier and their quality of life better. I mean, they didn't have to go on rallies or anything else to prove their points. They just decided we're going to run our own environment, our own homes. And there are quite a few mishaps, especially in the early days, with things like they get a windbreaker that does more than break wind. They get an outbreak of fleas. Barbara's dresses are torn to shreds. Her last posh frock is absolutely ruined in one of the episodes. But it is a very gentle-paced comedy, very similar to Last of the Summer Wine in many respects. It's not going to be razor-sharp wits, and if you're used to the modern style of comedy, joke after joke, lots of camera cuts, lots of noise. No, this is back in the 70s when I was a youngster, pretty much similar to some of the other comedies that we've reviewed on the channel. Very gentle, very understated, very warm sense of humour. In fact, it actually got lampooned in the 80s by the young ones, by people like Rick Mail and Aid Edmondson. In that show, Vivian actually jumped through the title sequence of The Good Life as it was being shown on a movie projector screen. And he's like, no, we're not watching The Bloody Good Life. It's too bloody nice. Because that's the kind of, by the 80s, that was the kind of attitude that was towards shows of the Good Life type. To use that one phrase now, when people look back at comedies from the 60s and 70s, maybe even the 80s to an extent, that phrase is of its time. It's kind of a time capsule period sort of thing, and a lot of the opinions people won't necessarily agree with, and they won't identify to the pace of life, but in many ways, I think it was much kinder. It was much cleverer. The humour was, as I say, very gentle, but it was clever in the message that it was delivering, that you don't need to have lots of high technology to live a good and happy life. In fact, I don't even think we ever saw Tom and Barbara even use a TV. So they had a very low-tech lifestyle, but the comedy and the joy of the show, the gentleness of it, and the cleverness in the scripts, the writing, is absolutely superb. As to the DVD set itself, you get all 4 series. You get the Royal Command performance, and you also get the Christmas special, which was called Silly But It's Fun. That's included. You get interviews with writers, one of the writers at least, and you also get a featurette that actually runs through all the DVDs called The Many Modes of Margot. Now, I can't actually vouch to you exactly what this entails, whether it's just a synopsis of Margot's character throughout the series. I suspect that's what it is, but that's one of the few features that I've not been able to watch yet. Very worthwhile comedy, enjoyment-wise, if you like, as I say, gentle British humour from that sort of period. And it will bring back a lot of memories to people of certain age groups, such as myself, for sure. So yeah, that's my look at The Good Life, the complete DVD box set. Hope you enjoyed, and I will be back later in the week, following on from our recent review of George and Mildred, the complete series. I'm now going to follow on and review George and Mildred, the movie, for you. That'll be later this week. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, everyone, and I'll see you then.